The shocking true story of how Ben Franklin almost killed himself with electricity. Ben Franklin, widely considered one of the founding fathers of the United States and one of the most important figures in early American history, was so fascinated by electricity that he performed many groundbreaking experiments with it. Perhaps his most famous experiment was when he flew a kite in an electrical storm, with the metal from the kite string connecting him to the ground through a lightning bolt. And while this story makes for a good tale, it's actually wrong. Find out what really happened. A recap of the kite experiment. In 1752, Benjamin Franklin conducted a famous experiment to prove that lightning was electricity. He flew a kite in a thunderstorm, and the metal key attached to the kite's string collected electrical charge from the storm clouds. This charge ran down the string and gave Franklin a nasty shock. However, this was not the only time Franklin was electrocuted. In 1769, he tried to replicate his kite experiment indoors, using a Leyden jar, a type of early capacitor. Unfortunately, he miscalculated the amount of charge the jar could hold, and he was knocked unconscious by the resulting discharge. Fortunately, he woke up a few minutes later with no serious injuries or lasting effects from the electric shock. He went on to live for many more years and publish other groundbreaking scientific theories such as bifocals, life insurance, and what is now known as the United States Postal System. Benjamin Franklin's autobiography. Benjamin Franklin was born in Boston on January 17, 1706. He was the 10th son of soapmaker Josiah Franklin. He had 7 brothers and 2 sisters. His father wanted him to become a clergyman, but he hated going to school. He only had 2 years of formal education. When he was 10, his father apprenticed him to his brother James, a printer. He worked there for 5 years until he ran away to Philadelphia in 1723. He soon made enough money from publishing to purchase 1/2 interest in the Pennsylvania Gazette newspaper. In addition, he published Poor Richard's Almanac with proverbs that became popular throughout America. One that stands out is early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Franklin's interest turned towards science and electricity. Timeline of events. In 1752, Benjamin Franklin was conducting an experiment to see if lightning was electrical. He attached a key to a kite and flew it in a thunderstorm. The kite was struck by lightning, and the shock knocked Franklin unconscious. He later recovered and continued his experiments, but that's not where he would have been electrocuted. One day, he went up on top of his roof to hang out clothes and accidentally shocked himself with a kite string that had been electrified from a storm earlier that day. 1 hour after I got home, I perceived a great numbness in my breast, Franklin wrote about the incident. It gradually extended all over me, and though I then lay down on my bed, I continued numb for more than 4 hours. The next day he came across another account of someone being electrocuted in a similar way and realized what had happened. Electrocuted in the kitchen. Nonetheless, Franklin has been electrocuted at least once before for an uncomplicated. He was cooking dinner. Since 1745, Franklin had been studying electricity, and he believed that electrocuting a turkey made the meat tender. One night in 1749, Franklin was trying to electrocute a turkey when he touched one of his 2 Leyden jars, early components of the electrical generator, and was shocked. Franklin himself did not know what happened next, but onlookers say Franklin was shaking. Franklin had sudden numbness, along with a few days of soreness, but the experience left him in a better position to comprehend the nature of electricity than the kite experiment did. Still, Franklin suffered from ailments such as gout and kidney stones all his life. These conditions could have contributed to his death. However, there's no evidence that suggests any sort of foul play by anyone on either side during this time period. What happened to cause the accident? On June 15, 1752, while conducting an experiment to disprove the theory that lightning was a form of electricity, Benjamin Franklin almost killed himself. He attached a key to a kite string and flew it in a thunderstorm. When the kite was struck by lightning, the current ran down the string and into Franklin's body, knocking him unconscious. He was later revived by his son, who found him lying on the ground with burns on his hands and face. Why did this happen? Most people know that Benjamin Franklin was a great inventor and scientist, but what they don't know is that he almost killed himself while experimenting with electricity. In 1752, Franklin was attempting to prove that lightning was a form of electricity by flying a kite in a thunderstorm. However, the kite was struck by lightning and Franklin was severely electrocuted. Fortunately, he survived the incident and went on to make many more contributions to science. He was able to determine that lightning was not just one type of electricity, but two, positive and negative. He also found out how to separate these two types of electricity, which allowed scientists later on to use it for experiments without the fear of being injured or killed by it. What are some lessons learned from this? 1. Always be careful when working with electricity. 2. Make sure you have a clear understanding of what you're doing before attempting any experiments. 3. It's always best to have someone else around when working with potentially dangerous materials. 4. Don't take unnecessary risks. 5. Be prepared for the unexpected. 6. Accidents can happen even when you're being careful. 7. If something goes wrong, don't hesitate to seek medical help immediately. History shows us that humans are fallible, but also resourceful. Don't forget to like, comment down below, and subscribe.